What's good, everybody? I'm here with a tips video that might seem late in the year, but I think it's actually quite necessary, if that makes any sense. So, recently, a change that was made to MLB the Show was that they allowed the PCI to not reach further to the corners. After, some videos went out there and some people talked about stuff, we included that there was an exploit out there for pitching that if you held the pitch in a certain spot for a couple seconds and then pitched, it would never miss the spot or hardly ever miss the spot. It was an insane success rate. I did it myself. I have videos on my YouTube channel of when that was happening a lot. You can see it for yourself. Either way, they made the PCI go further past the corners so you could reach these pitches. It was particularly devastating to get dotted like that on Legend. It was almost impossible because PCIs were so tiny, it couldn't stretch that far anyways. This wasn't as big of a problem on All-Star and Hall of Fame because the PCIs are bigger naturally, so they already cover more room. But what has this new PCI change done to the game? So, they made the PCI extend further to the corners. What did that do by default? Well, it made All-Star particularly, but also Hall of Fame a lot more annoying. Because now the PCI goes everywhere. There's no pitch you could throw that doesn't get touched. I've let up home runs on balls being barely touched by the PCI way outside the zone. Yet we're popping up on balls that are straight in the PCI dead center. All-Star, you can never get a strikeout, let alone throw a pitch anywhere near the zone that they miss. And now on Legend, what's the problem? A little bit different. So, when you make the PCI go further past the corners, what's going to happen? The PCI almost feels like it's looser now. It feels like you're swinging a Twizzler. It's speeding up the PCI. It's so fast. If I sneeze or if I breathe too hard, the PCI flies to the corner. A lot of PCI mashing. It's almost impossible to catch up to the pitches as it is already before this update because of servers and timing window shifts and the game is not running smoothly. It was already hard. Now it's even harder. We have to be pristine with the PCI movement to even get anywhere near the ball. And a lot of times when you even do that, you square it up and it just goes straight up in the air and no one knows why. A lot of low balls are getting hit and it's like the ball's greased up. Shoots right up in the air and no one knows why. Between that, servers, all this other stuff, online is an absolute disaster right now. Nobody, including me, really wants to play it. Casuals can't sign on after, they play once or twice a week. They come on, they're getting dotted by DeGrom and it's unfortunate. They can't touch the ball because it's laggy and whatever the reason is. But I am here to not talk about any of that. I'm here to just bring you guys solutions, okay? A rant video will be maybe soon, but I want to keep this a little bit more on a positive note. So, I'm sorry that leaked out there a little bit. My feelings on this patch are quite known. But anyway, what can we do to remedy this patch? How can we fix it? How can we get better? Well, I'll tell you guys what helped me hit recently. I was struggling. I got shut out. My first game on Legend after this patch. Shut out. 2 hits. One of them was a fluke. Couldn't even touch the ball. Since then, I've won a lot of my games. My average has gone up a couple points. I'm feeling fine. I figured it out mentally. Hopefully, it can help you guys. Maybe open up some light on you. Enlighten you a little bit here. Let's get into the video, man. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. First of all, go to the vault. You guys know JR_Strohs. Download his most recent roster. I have the 7th inning bosses here. I don't know if he's done one since then, but I haven't really done a lot of BP. So I have George Brett. That's all you need to know. I have George Brett, so I'll show you. We're facing DeGrom. I put practice type, I'm hitting. I select all the zones when he's pitching because that means he can't throw balls. It's good for BP. If you have problems chasing outside the zone, don't do that, but I don't really, so I'm over here just doing this so I can get strikes to work with. Now, what is the mental little tidbit that I can give you guys to help you hit on this new patch? Especially if you're a Hall of Fame or Legend player, this might really help you out here. Do you feel like your PCI is sliding all over the place? Like you're missing it by a lot? Like you're overcorrecting way too far? Well, I got something for you. Think of your PCI. This might make no sense to you, but if you think about it, it kind of will. The PCI change made your PCI feel a little faster, a lot looser. Now, how do you counteract that? Well, visualize your PCI now being bigger. Because you can cover more of the zone, your PCI is, in theory, bigger. Now, how do you work with that? Well, I'll show you. I changed my PCI. It's 60% outer with reverb with just circle inner. Now, you want to move your PCI as little as possible. That's the whole goal here. Imagine if you're playing a Legend game like now, this is the PCI for outer. Imagine you have an all-star type sized PCI. So really don't move it. And if you do, barely move it. Like as little as you can. I'm doing a little bit artificially right now. I'm trying to overemphasize, so I'm missing it. But imagine your PCI is like BR sized if you're on ranked Hall of Fame or Legend. If you're on all-star ranked too, it's a whole nother problem there. But this is specifically for those who are having problems overcorrecting their PCI right now. Really emphasize hardly moving your PCI. Pick a general location, and it's okay if you miss it like that. Your PCI is going to be super sensitive. If you think about, the way to think about it is like this. It's like, oh, my PCI is sliding. What do? I don't know how to hit the ball right now. I feel like I can never match it up. I can't flick to the spot because you can't flick to the spot anymore. It's not going to work like it used to. If there was a fastball in this corner up here, you could just max out your stick and you'd reach it perfectly. Now, you have to actually not just, like, if you flick all the way to the corner, you're going to go past it. You have to go right here. So how do you mitigate that? Well, you have baby little movements, like that. I felt like I barely moved my PCI, and I went all the way to the bottom right. I'm telling you guys, use a bigger PCI to help you visualize it, preferably just an outer. I use outer reverb, and really just don't move it. Like, almost like you're tilting it in a direction. Look, I'm barely moving it. Look how it goes. It's kind of crazy. It's a mental thing. You have to work on it. I got it by the end of my second game. I put together a 7-run inning. I rallied a little bit. I just kind of picked a location and sat on it. It's going to be tough online. We know how servers are with pitches just, you know, essentially pitches are like warping right now. Fastballs are extra fast. Off speeds are extra off speedy. They're slow. You know what I'm saying? I know the verbiage is funny, but that's how it is. Curveballs are freezing at the top of at the apex of their break and then plummeting right past you. Fastballs are, you're seeing them almost like it's 10% later than you normally would see it, and the next thing you know, it's right by you. You can't even get to it. So what you have to do is you got to change your approach right now. You can't try and match up the ball. I used to have an approach saying catch the baseball with your PCI like your PCI is a glove, not a bat. Can't really do that anymore, guys. You have to sort of pick a location and sort of just kind of sit there. I'm not getting great contact right now. You know, this is also very strange hitting like this, but I'm really trying to show you guys that look how much movement it is if I barely move my PCI. You got to just kind of do a little baby. That was me trying to flick the old way. Look how far I went. I went underneath it late. Now, I'm going to try and hit the way I've been doing recently in ranked. Kind of do your normal pre-pitch movements and then hold and get on top of it a little bit. Now, if that's not good enough for you, if that outer doesn't work with you, I recommend not going inner and center. Going just center, buffing up the PCI transparency to as high as you can, and this will really help you emphasize baby movements. Really, just I think the outer is representative of my new approach. Enough zone will be covered the less I move, but the inner is more physically representative of what we're doing here. It's a tinier room for error now. You have to really work with it. You have to be super pinpoint accurate. No pun intended. But that's really how it is now, man. It's not perfect. I'm struggling too. But this is just what I've learned and what we have to do moving forward if we want to hit. One thing I've also noticed, guys, is might not work for you. I don't know if you hit on strike zone, but one thing I do when I'm getting lit up on strike zone, particularly with Shohei Ohtani and Nolan Ryan, for some reason I can't hit on strike zone against them. I have to use strike zone high. This makes me feel less suffocated at the plate and gives me more room to operate in terms of PCI movement. I'm gonna leave. Oh my. High max elevation, create a stadium. It's more about being corrected. My timing's been whatever. If the timing windows are fine because the game's okay and the servers aren't awful, my timing's fine. But if the servers are bad, that's a whole nother problem. But if the servers are good, my timing's usually fine. It's been my PCI that's off. It's super sensitive. Like, it's so crazy. So you gotta just really overemphasize barely moving. Boom, right on it, crushed it, broke his ankle. That's what I gotta give you guys. There's not much more to it. One more little tidbit of information here. It's righty-righty help. Specifically, you know, righty-righty help. I'll do lefty-lefty because righty-righty, everyone does that mostly. It's lefty-lefty people have a problem with. We will do... who is it? That's Chapman. Chapman is Cordero. Okay. It's Frankie Cordero, whatever his name is. Frenchie Cordero. I don't even know what his name is, but he's got Chapman's motion and pitches. So how do you hit this? How do you hit lefty-lefty with this new update? It's now even harder because your PCI is so sensitive. And lefty-lefty, for some reason, the fastballs, especially from Chapman, seem extra fast. Cover your weak zones, sit on the weak zones, and that's really about it. Sinker, fastball up and in is going to be a weak spot. Cover it, and then let it loose. I don't know what just happened there. That swing was great, and it's going to die. That's perfectly representative of what's the problem with the game right now, guys. That was an 86-mile-per-hour exit velo on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball centered up. That's perfect. I'm going to end it there. I'm not even going to go any further into that. Game's busted right now. The PCI change ruined hitting. But that's my point. Back into it. I'm not going to end the video on that particular... Oh, that's crazy. I cannot believe that just happened. But what's my approach lefty-lefty right now? Cheat my weak zones and barely overcompensate for sliders away. I'm going to make him throw a slider low and away here, just to show you it. Alright, so he's going to throw a slider down here. I know it's coming, so it's obviously going to be a little bit easier. But you cover up here for the sinkers, fastballs, and then you just kind of gently glide over. Now, it's not going to be easy, right? You're going to be missing it a lot. I miss it all the time, too. But the key is to know what you're doing here in your approach. Have one. Have an approach. Fastball, sinker, up and in, down and in, and then glide over. Boom. You'll get it down eventually. Practice this stuff, guys. Utilize practice. A lot of guys come in my chat and say, hey, I'm having trouble hitting the high fastball. What do I do? Go to practice. Pick the top 3 portions of the zone against your worst pitcher that you can't have any success against. And just take reps, man. That's all you can do. Now, the online experience is a little bit scuffed right now. But you know what, man? Guys, you know what you're getting into when you sign on to MLB the Show. It's going to be a scuffed online experience. Just do your best to have fun, okay? One thing I recommend is using cards you've never used before. New cards. That's what I do. New cards keep me engaged. Content always gets me to play. It's the gameplay that gets me to turn the game off. Content makes me turn the game on. Gameplay makes me turn the game off. That's how I'd say it. Boom, all over it. Just late. It's going to land foul. But that's the point, guys. That's all I got for you, man. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps. Mostly, I hope it helps. And I hope you guys have fun. Like I said, it's the most important thing. I've done it lately. Channel has had a shift in the mood and the tone recently. I hope you guys have noticed. And the whole mantra is going to be, do what's right for that time. If you're not having fun, get off the game. There's always something to do. I suggest you guys do the same. Thank you for watching. I love y'all, man. Thanks for keeping up with the content of the channel. I hope you guys enjoy the video and you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.